Hello and welcome to episode number 34 of Just Shillin'. I am one of your hosts, Sean Hoffman.
And I'm your other host, Andy Bell. How are you, buddy?
Hello. I am good. It has been it's just been crazy. I was go- if we would have recorded yesterday, I would have been like, dude, it's been like a rough week. It's been just like all over the place, but today like the last 24 hours have been like chaotic good, if we wanna put it in like the 3 by 3 square, like
Mm.
chaotic good. Um, so it's like I feel my heart rate in my throat in like a good way of like, "Ooh, this is exciting." So like things have really kinda turned around for the better. Um, it's been a week, man. I know we talked about it right before we recorded. Like, not a lot's happened. We got a little bit to talk about, but like maybe it'll be a short one. Maybe, who knows? But, it's just been crazy. I wish we've been doing all sorts of stuff recently, um, like, we've been really I've been really busy with work. We've been doing some stuff for, like, local like, not I don't wanna say, like, local politics, 'cause it's not really what it is. It's specifically for, like, a local measure, like, doing some canvassing, and I've been doing some web stuff for it because there's some heated proposals coming through in the area
Mm.
that's just for, like, not to go into the details of it, but it's very interesting because it's getting over, like, millions of dollars from, like, national lobbyists paying to kinda disrupt the campaign, so it's kind of a, interesting time
Wow.
here in the basin. Um, yeah,
And
it's
what's
it's
that
pretty
for?
wild.
Is that for some kind of planning or some sort of
Uh,
development that's
it's
planned?
it's for a proposed vacancy tax, in our city. So, basically over 44% of our homes here in town are vacant, over 6 months of the year because
Because
they
they're
are
because they're holiday lets or they're second
yeah,
homes. Yeah,
exactly,
yeah.
and that's causing it's causing a ton of issues, like, that's one of the issues, like, it's school enrollment rates are down, like, 30+%, workers can't afford to live here, they have to commute, like, over an hour
Yeah.
outside, and it's a whole big thing, so they're proposing, a vacancy tax, so if you don't live here over X number of days, like you'd get an extra 3K tacked on to your property taxes a year. And that has the real estate agent lobby flipping their gourd. They are not happy about it. So they're getting money from DC, Washington DC, from Los Angeles. They have like paid people walking around, like, spreading these flyers that are just wild. Like, it's wild. It's like it's a bizarre time to be alive because they're like, "Oh, the government's gonna be peeping in your windows with binoculars, or they're gonna
Mm.
be doing all this stuff," and, like, I feel like I'm in the midst of, like, the chaos that you see on TV with, like, political, like, misinformation and stuff. It's crazy. It's wild times. Um,
Well, that's the problem
so
with I mean, that's the challenge. I mean, the challenge with living in a place of outstanding beauty, which, Tahoe is renowned for, is that it becomes unaffordable. It really, really drives the local economy into the ground. I mean, I saw the same thing happen where I was born and brought up. Locals can't live there, can't afford to buy there.
yeah.
Pretty much my remaining family that are living back in this place, Cornwall, and any old friends that I still have down there, they're pretty much having to rent because they cannot afford. They don't have the means to buy their own place. It's crazy and sad and really, really sad. And I understand why people want a second home down there. I understand why people want to um, get into the property market or get into
Yeah.
the rental market or the Airbnb market. I get it. I understand it. But if there's no local economy, um,
Well, and that's what makes
it's not good.
it so complicated is we already put a cap. And, like, so you can't just open an Airbnb here, you have to have a
Mm.
permit through the city, and they already capped those, and they're actually not renewing them, so the numbers are going down there. Um, and we also have this regional planning thing that's kind of environmental, like, for the entire basin that controls, like, development and you can only have so much coverage on your land because they need snow to melt and be filtered and go to the basin. So there's a lot of regulation to kind of keep
Mm.
Tahoe from being overbuilt. But what one of the things that's kind of come out of it is like the only people who can afford or to like develop are the second homes, the ones where they just tear out the entire
Yeah,
lot
yeah,
and
yeah.
rebuild these massive things. So like it's getting rid of affordable housing, tearing down like motels, apartment complexes, and building these mansion. We call them McMansions. Uh, and so yeah, it's incredibly crazy, but it's funny how the real estate agents have come out of the woodwork. Like it's hostile. It's hostile here, and we
Mm.
have until November when this vote comes through, and it's already kind of weird. Like, who cares about the not who cares, but like people aren't even talking about like the national election. It's like, what is this individual measure gonna do? And it's crazy. So yeah,
But if you're
we've been
talking about
dealing with
but if
that.
you're
It's
talking about
wild.
3K, I mean, if you're talking about 3K, no, I understand. But if you're talking about 3K, um, 3K is a lot of money, but it's not extortionate. If you if
No.
you've got the if you've got the disposable income or the investment portfolio or the credit to be able to afford a second home or a rental,
Hmm.
it, 3K to support the local community, is that
Hmm.
is that a lot? Doesn't
No,
seem like a lot to me.
it is not even two ski passes, which is
Right.
like that's the funniest part is like we have some neighbors who this would affect, and it's not even like, and they come in and they buy ski multiple season ski passes for their entire family, and this isn't even the cost of two of them, like,
Right.
for a single person. But it's yeah, it's bananas what's going on
Different world, man.
because there's different towns that are surrounding us that their vacancy rates are over 70%,
Wow.
and they like it's too far gone for them now. Like there's nothing they really can do, um, because they don't have the majority anymore, so they can't. It's yeah, it's bananas. But anyways, not to go down that rabbit hole any further because it's crazy times. Yeah. Besides that, we have an update. I have an update for us. Kind of trigger. I mean, it's something I've kind of been mulling around in the background for a while, but I think the just crafting stuff kind of pushed me over the edge on it. We now have an Instagram account for both Just Chillin' and Just Crafting. Um,
Awesome.
just to, I mean, which, and I know you're a big Facebook guy, so that we could even, if you have an interest, you can even use that
I'm not
there.
a I'm not a big Facebook guy. It's the only place that I can stay in touch with my family over in Sydney. I use it mainly for keeping in touch with. In fact, I've used it for what 10, 15 years only for posting family stuff. Really, it's not
Well, you
anything
heard
but
it
a
here live.
family.
Andy said, "Fuck Facebook. We're not getting one. We're not doing it there ever." But no, we do have. I did do the
No, no, I
Instagram one
will.
just
I will. No,
to
no, no.
share the things, share
It'll be
photos and
it'll
stuff.
be nice. Let's just put it this way: it'll be a nice to get a little bit more active there as well, and maybe um, break the seal and finally come clean to some of my friends and family that I do a dorky podcast.
Oh yeah, that's
Um,
not happening for me. Nah, nope. Although I'm sure my friends, like my internet footprint is massive, so I'm sure with a reasonable Google search, we can they'll find out one way or another.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I was going to leave it till later on. Actually, it's something that I've been listening to, but I really enjoyed your latest episode of Just Crafting. It's good. I mean, if
Nice.
you get around the absolute chaos that is Ed, it's the rest of it is really really good. God, that guy's a live wire, isn't he? You can't
I
control
just
him at
wonder
all.
what's the over under that if he will post the episode to their feed. Like I'm about to
I
start taking
know.
bets on it and just Ed, if you're listening to this, which what are the odds of that? Um,
Mm.
you can't say this time that I didn't send it to you because now I've sent it to you twice. Uh, so yeah. Shots fired.
I'm a witness, and it was witnessed. So yeah, no excuses, Ed. But no, it sounded great. I mean, it sounds really, really good. I mean, to some of the feedback you guys have been getting, it's like it would be great to be able to put some images or some context to what you guys are talking about. So yeah, setting up that Instagram account as well, I think, is a very, very good thing. Um, because I've seen some of the art that the modeling you've been doing. I obviously I've seen firsthand some of the scratch building that our buddy Chris has been doing, and Ed himself has been quite prolific on Discord with his stuff. So spreading the word on that and making that content available to a wider audience, I think is a good thing, because there's some sweet stuff there that you guys have been working on.
And the other added bonus is that it forced me to kinda create a new project for, like, editing,
Mm,
and it it's helped me discover a solution to the things that maybe people have given us feedback about the audio leveling, and I
mm,
believe this episode will be the first one where that is, 'cause I fixed it before, but I'm hoping that this one is more fixed than normal, because I know people will say
okay.
that it sounds different in headphones versus in the car. In the car, one of us is really loud or one of us is really quiet. In
Mm.
headphones, it sounds fine. So I think I have that problem resolved now for this episode. So we'll see. If not,
Well,
we'll get
I also think a less technical solution of me not actually having my mouth more than 20 centimeters away from the actual mic helps an awful lot as well. In the early days, I was more or less swallowing the microphone. I think that made a lot of difference as well. Cool. Anything
other
else you've been doing this week, mate?
No, man, it's just been, I mean, besides the watching and stuff like that, just been I guess, I mean, it's kind of part of it. The other thing that's kind of news, kind of what I've been up to, and I talked about it a little bit off air with you last week of, I I would never consider myself a huge gamer. Like, I've always
Mm.
played video games, but, like, you meet some of our friends who are like,
Hmm.
they live for it. They like it's they follow, like, I'll follow it and I get excited for games, like, but I'm one of those people who has, like, a Steam library where it's like there's more games unplayed than played, and it's just kind of like
Mm.
that shame library. And even console games, because it's like I like the idea of it, but then, like, making myself come and sit, like, I'll always play Star Wars games, and I've played other ones, but, like, I feel like there's always something else that's kinda pulling me somewhere else. But a game that I have followed for since pre-release, ordered it the day it opened for pre-release over 4 freaking years ago, and I've got 700 plus hours in, finally
Wow.
hit 1.0 yesterday, and it's like, man, I've never felt like pride for a company or like a game studio or anything that I have nothing to do with. Like, I'm not associated with any of it, but it's like, you just kinda sit back and go, "Hell yeah, dude. Congratulations. That's awesome." Like, I'm gonna get back into it at some point, like, not right now. I started to boot it up yesterday. I'm like, "What am I doing? I don't have time for this shit." Like, it's like, it's cool. I've never felt that for, like, a game, and, like, I think it's kinda cool to feel that myself, because I know a lot of our friends are, like, super invested into games that have meant a lot to them for a very, very long time, where they've invested a
Mm.
lot of hours. I don't know, it's kind of weird. It's like a new experience for me. Um, and I guess I never mentioned the name of the game, not that it's like it's very niche and very specific to, like, how my brain works, but it's called Satisfactory. It's a factory automation game. It's really cool. If you like doing work as a game, that's kind of fun. Um, but and I know I talked to you about it last week, but it is coming to
Yeah.
console too. They're porting it to console, so that's nice.
It
That
looks really, really good. And it's not what, when you described it to me before you showed me what it was, I thought, okay. I thought it was a bit like, some of those little handheld or the little DS
Yeah,
games
yeah.
like Cooking Mama or not Animal Farm. That's
Animal Crossing or
Animal
something?
Crossing, Animal Farm. That's very, very different depending on what.
That would be a good game.
Yeah. Um, yes, it would. Animal Crossing, and But no, when you showed me, I thought it blew my head off. I mean, it's a factory automation concept, but it's set in a sci-fi setting surrounding. You
Yeah.
know, you're basically um, I was about to say an astronaut. You're not an astronaut. You're not. You're a miner, or you're a you're a factory builder. But it just so happens to be on alien planets, and I think that's absolutely awesome. It looks really, the graphics look really, really good.
Yeah,
A lot of it
they've knocked it out of
reminded
the park.
me a lot of it reminded me of Starfield. A lot of it reminded
So
me of Starfield.
that's what's funny is, like, when I first saw the stuff about Starfield and, like, why I
Mm,
jumped straight into it, I'm like, "Ooh, I heard I can set up stuff on, like, on moons," but then after playing Satisfactory and, like, and then going to Starfield, like, "Oh, like, you can a little bit, but it's nothing,
it's not as
nor
deep.
should it be, nor should it be." It's like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
not the
yeah, yeah.
scale, like, where it's like, it's the singular point of this game is to, like, you start with nothing, you build some miners, and then you're building all the way up to, like, nuclear power plus
Mhm.
teleporters, and it isn't I've never gotten to the end. Like, I have that many hours in, and, like, obviously, I've never played 1.0, but I've never even gotten to the end of, like, where it was when I was still playing. And, like, it's a niche. Like, I'm telling you, like, if there's people who be like, "I don't wanna do that." Like, I don't wanna look at a paper that says, like it's like when you hear about the EVE Online people, they're like, "Oh, they're doing, like, economics and, like, figuring out,
Oh,
like,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
math
yeah.
strategies of that." Like, I used to have papers. I mean, I made a whole website dedicated to it, like, as a helper. Like, there's websites that are dedicated, like, production flows. I'm like, "Okay, if you want this many of this thing, like, how many mines you need, what kind of belts, and yada, yada." It's a it's work. Like, people look at it and like, "Oh, it looks like work." I'm like, "I don't know what it is, man. It tickles that fancy, but, yeah,
Yeah.
that's all there is." It's cool. I enjoyed it,
So
and I'm happy for
now
them.
that one now that they've launched, do you have to start again on the real game, or as a beta, I'm assuming you're a beta trialist, you can just carry on where you left off. There's no impact to you.
You could load old saves, but, like, some of the production chains have changed, like, the recipes. So, like, you may have to go and, like, tweak things. I'm starting fresh. Like, everybody's kinda starting fresh,
Right,
uh,
got it.
but, like, you could go in and, tweak something. So, like, oh, it used to take 45 screws and 45
Mm,
grams of bauxite, but now it's 60, and so all your, like, nice non-overflowing backups and stuff won't work, but you could technically do it. No, yeah.
very cool. Oh, I'm happy for you, man, because when you showed me last week, I was really impressed. It's good stuff.
Yeah, that's all I got. That's all that I have this week. Next week should be much more exciting because I got some cool stuff coming up, but I'm gonna save that. What about you?
Very, very quiet week. Very, very quiet week. In fact, we already kind of warned each other that it might be a quite a quick episode, but we decided to record because we've got some good stuff coming up that we hinted about last week, and I'm not going to go any further on that hint than until it actually lands and we deliver against that hint. But we want to clear the barn. Is that a thing? We want to make sure we're fresh and focused for this little venture we've got going on this weekend. But no, it's been a very very quiet week, and the reason why it's been quiet, both in my personal, my work, and my televisual or my pop culture life, is because I'm rather addicted to Outlaws, mate, and I'll talk about it
Nice.
later on because we upgraded last week. We officially upgraded. I don't think I actually asked you for permission, but we officially upgraded watching, listening, reading to watching, listening, reading, and playing. And I've got some
Mhm.
stuff to tell you about where I am on Outlaws, but I have been hammering it. And I'm around about 30 to 32, 33 hours of gameplay now. Um, which sounds like a
Dang.
lot, but bearing in mind I did 15 hours in the first week, the first weekend, sorry.
That's still impressive
Um,
though. That's impressive.
It sounds it's a couple of hours a night, and I need to get back into, we've these deadlines for work aren't going to get out, aren't going to go anywhere, and I'm doing the job, but I need to kind of ease off a little bit just to get us over the line, and then I'll go back in hell for leather. But this is right up my anyway. Listen, I'm not gonna go into it until we're later. The other thing that's been going on in the house is good. I don't know if you remember, I told you that I was having Lucy's office refurbished. We
Yeah,
were
the dump
um,
room.
yeah, the dump room has been turned into a really really nice office. We found a local firm. We had the option to go to one of the national firms that specialize in bespoke built-in furniture.
Yeah,
But we found a local firm, really, really nice, very small family-run business. Take themselves extremely seriously. Half the price of one of these UK-wide firms, and they've done an amazing job. And I will take some photographs because we've basically got an arrangement now for Lucy whereby she's got a really, really comfortable office with a stack of storage, um, and done in one of the things that this company prides itself on is that it basically will paint the woodwork any color you want, and they literally mean any color you want because they'll match it. And the reason why it takes 6 weeks to be installed is it takes that long to cure the paint that they pre-spray before they arrive.
dang.
Obviously, it's all ready, and hence the reason why it goes up. I mean, it went up in 3 days, and it's a big, 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 big exercise. It sounds very simple, like a couple of desks and a couple of wardrobes and a couple of shelving units. No, 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 it's massive. We're talking about integrated into the walls, in a kind of L shape. It's a right angled configuration, and she's
Getting
very
like a mobile
happy. And
office.
when
That's
yeah,
awesome.
exactly, when she's happy, I'm very happy because it means I've got brownie points in the bank. So that's
Nice.
happened this week, and I'm very happy with that. The only other bit of news, and maybe I should have saved it for a bit of just grilling conversation that we should have at some point with our buddy Jimmy. But I discovered a um, dark chocolate as a
Ooh,
as a
Addison
cooking
like this.
dark chocolate um, as a really really good cooking ingredient. And I knew it was a thing,
Mhm,
but I used it this weekend in my chili, and good God, it's amazing. It adds a so I don't know how you guys cook. I mean, there are very, very different ways of cooking chili. I tend to grind my own spices. I tend to be as respectful as I possibly can. But one of the ingredients that I've always not felt right about is adding sugar, albeit a little bit of sugar to sweeten it up. And I haven't felt right about it. And I found I just was just reading. I was just reading something, and I found a chef that said if you tried dark chocolate, which will add the sweetness, but it also introduces a bitterness to that
mhm.
sweetness that you don't expect, and it worked a treat. And I have to say, it's my go-to secret ingredient of choice. It's a little bit like conversation I had with this Scruffy's quite a while ago when we were talking about what we were cooking, and I made a shepherd's pie. I think it might be either on the Scruffy's or on this or on one of these episodes. But anyway, my secret ingredient on my shepherd's pie is Worcester sauce.
Mm.
Um, it was this pod because you asked me how to pronounce it. Yeah, Worcester. Okay,
Yep,
no
it was
worries.
one of the first ones, yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So yeah, 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 yeah. It was good. It was good, and it was
It's
and
like a mole chili, you know, you put a little chocolate in there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure I've used it before. I'm sure somehow I've used dark chocolate with red wine in something before, and it may well be something as simple as a tomato sauce for a bolognese or something simple as that. But it's the first time I've used it in a chili, I think. But good God, it was really really good. Sorry, I mean it's not particularly exciting, but this has been my week,
I
and
find
I
this fascinating.
well, I was actually wondering, you know how we're so bit of behind the scenes gossip or bit of behind the scenes chatter for our friends. But you and I talk about, what do we want to talk about? We don't, especially when it's a quiet week, or especially when we've got a guest on. And I love my cooking. I love cooking. I don't do it as half as much as I should, um, because it's changed an awful lot since the two of us. When you cook, when you've got
Mhm.
a family of
Yeah,
four, it's kind of
it changes it. Yeah.
it changes it because it's a lot more relaxed. You don't have to, you don't have children to worry about anymore. So, I mean, but when we get into it, I mean, the barbecue this summer was absolutely rocking. Pretty much every weekend. Even when it was raining, the barbecue was on. So I do love my cooking, but yeah, we got to get Jimmy on just to talk about food.
So is
And we'll
that
do it, and we'll get him on here as well because that will placate people like Chris and Kev that don't wanna hear that shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. If so, are you familiar with the term FIRE, like financial independence, retire early?
Yeah, yeah.
Would that be would, like, being, like, cooking or, like, chef stuff, would that be, like, your barista FIRE kinda job? Where it's like, you don't have to work
Yeah.
to make money, but, like,
Yeah,
you're just
yeah.
working a
I
bunch of
wouldn't be
positions you like?
surprised. Yeah, 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 I wouldn't be surprised. That or gardening, mate. That or
Mhm.
being outdoors in the garden. I would love to spend outdoors in the garden. Sorry, I forgot that. I did. It's getting cold here now. It's early September. Well, it's mid-September, and I've got to try and put the garden to bed for winter. And by doing that, and what I mean by that is I need to start cutting stuff back to make sure that I cut it back before the frost comes. So I spent. I didn't realize I'd forgotten all about it. But yeah, I spent a good 2 or 3 weekends now, um, cutting back some stuff. I don't touch the apple trees until January. Um, sorry, January, February time, so just before the blossom comes out. But the other stuff in the garden, I need to get it cut back now before, because I really don't want it to suffer from frost damage. So that's
Do you
been
have a
going on
lot
as
of
well. But
you have a lot of apple
sorry.
trees? Like, I'm picturing this, like, massive estate with giant
No,
green
no, no,
lawns
no,
and
no, no,
rows of
no.
apple
Where we
trees.
live, where we live, where we live. It's about that the house is approach. It's 90 years old, something like that. And but where it's based is it's an old orchard. And so what they did was when they built the houses, we've got the reason why we bought it was because it's a little bit out of the way, and in being a little bit out of the way, or the main city of Cheltenham, which is quite a nice city in the UK, but fucking expensive. We're a little bit out of the way, which means it was a lot more affordable, but also we've got a lot more land. It's not a huge amount of land, but we've got a lot more land, and the unless the house owners subsequently tore them out, a lot of the original orchard is still in our back garden. So we've got got two parts of the garden. We've got the first part of the garden, which is basically the back of the house,
Mhm.
where your patio and your decking is, and then you
Did
got the
you
bottom part of
say
the garden,
decking?
decking, and the bottom part of the garden is where we've got um, three apple trees and a cherry tree. Um, the cherry tree, bless it, it struggles every year. Struggles every year. Um,
Aw, poor
hasn't
guy.
really. I mean, it's fine. It's fine. It's still here many years later. But we don't get a lot of produce. Oh, we've got a couple of the bottom of the garden. Sorry, the very bottom of the garden. We've also got a couple of plum trees as well. We've got some plums.
Ooh.
Well,
Plums
in
were
this bottom, I'm actually in the shed, which is at the bottom of I'm surrounded by those trees in this shed, and and when we originally bought the house, the guy who owned it was a bit of a market gardener, so he had a lot in between the trees. He had vegetable plots and everything. They were the first thing to be ripped up. I promise you. It's
yeah.
now just all in between. It's all lawns. I would love to think I'm that self sufficient, but I'm a realist, and I know I'm extremely lazy and could not be bothered to maintain anything like that. Um, But who knows? Yeah, yeah, yeah. When the day comes to that, I decide to call it a day on the big stuff. Yeah, gardening, cooking, anything like that. I love it. Absolutely love it.
Plums are one of those things that I never realized that I liked because I've always received them from stores. But when I still lived in, like, the San Francisco area, somebody brought them into work, like, some fresh ones in from their home, and, man, I make a fool of myself. I'm a plum guy now, like, it's like, I'll just make a huge like, I would trim my beard short just so I can eat plums more efficiently.
Mm,
They're that good, when they're, like, good and fresh, like,
yeah.
that they're pretty awesome. You the other thing is you reminded me of my gardening situation. So I love hearing about your, like, lush orchard, things that grow, because that's not really how it goes here, being in the climate that we are, and considering I live right off a pretty main road through the high school. So when we moved in, we had, like, a lawn, but it was, like, it needed like, it had sprinklers and stuff, and, like, it really struggled. So I ripped the sprinklers out, and now our yard is mostly, like, granite and gravel from the road that melts, and just it's all this. But what I did discover that works is we can replant native wildflowers.
Oh
So
wow.
what my neighbors don't realize is about to happen is right around November 1st, I have an excessive an excessive amount of native wildflower seeds that are gonna get sprinkled over my entire property, um, right before it snows, so they'll be ready to germinate in spring.
Yeah.
But I'm literally covering every inch of my yard and everything just in copious amounts of wildflower seeds, and I'm just seeing what's gonna happen. So in about, I don't know, 6 months, we'll see how that's going. But, yeah,
A lot of my friends leave their lawns to I don't know what I can't remember what they call it over here. It basically goes it's fallow.
like a
But
you're
they but
reclaiming it for, like, native plants and
yeah, yeah.
low water usage and stuff.
Yeah, so farmers are being paid for that in the UK now. Crop rotation's a big thing over in the UK. So if you're a farmer, you'll have I don't know, you'll do wheat in the field one year, the next year barley,
Yeah,
the next year rapeseed, then the next year is fallow, and you'd have your cattle use that field instead, and you keep rotating them so that
yeah,
the soil is getting everything it kind of needs from cow crap all the way through to different types of plants
instead of a
germinating in it.
monoculture and stuff, yeah.
But there's a new, I wouldn't say a new, but a relatively new um, subsidy that farmers can get by leaving some of their land truly fallow and what
Hmm,
sorry, not fallow, wild, leaving it
hmm,
wild, so that so that things like hedgerows is a big thing over here, in that there's an awful lot of wildlife that were in danger was in danger yeah, sorry um, um, indigenous wildlife
yeah,
that was very close to being um, dying out, like badgers and birds of prey and other animals that lived in hedgerows, and
mhm,
hedgerows were going, for two reasons. One is that it was more economical for farmers to expand their land, sorry, to extend to take down borders between their land so that they could
yeah, yeah,
have yield larger crops. And of course, an awful lot of land these days are being is being sold off for development, for housing
mhm,
development, which is a big thing over here, with an ever increasing population. And so there's an awful lot of government farming ministry thought it going into paying farmers now to establish natural habitats for wildlife on their own property, and I think it's quite a good earner for them as well. Um, I'd have to rewatch. I think it's season one of Clarkson's Farm, but I think I don't think it's too bad at all.
I actually had a recommendation from that from a friend this last weekend. They're
Oh,
like, "Oh, have
really?
you watched Clarkson's Farm?" I'm like, "I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about."
Yeah, I mean the guy's obnoxious, but he's funny obnoxious. It's he's a misogynist. He's everything that pretty much hopefully died out with my father's generation. But yeah, he's all right. He's good value. He's good fun. But yeah, that's been my week, mate. I can't wait to talk to you about Outlaws though, because I've got some updates there. I can't stop playing it. It's really really good. What about have you had a chance in your busy week to be able to watch, listen, read anything?
So so now that we've added gaming and maybe even food to it, what we should just call it, what have we been consuming? It's like games, TV, podcasts,
Consumption,
music, food,
consumption. Yeah,
grilling.
yeah, yeah.
Like, what did we consume this week? I did so I haven't caught up. I haven't watched For All Mankind. I'm hearing really good
Okay.
stuff about Rings of Power, but I haven't had a chance to watch that yet. But we did start a new show because of a friend of being in town. Um, an anime called 8686. Um,
Ooh,
and I think Madison was talking to her and was like, "Oh, I like to think." And so it's kind of a thinking, like an introspective anime. It's pretty good so far. I mean, I think there's only 1 season or 2 seasons if you can split the mid-season break up into 2. So we're like, I don't know, 5 or 6 episodes in, and I think there's 24 total. It's an interesting concept. Um, I'll have more to say about it when we wrap it up, but it's kind of like a, not to give away like spoilers or anything, but it's just the kind of the premise is there's a future where there was a country and then another country, the bad, air quote, bad country created autonomous robots that then attacked like the main country. And then the main country, they kind of did a the all the silver-haired people took all the non-silver-haired people and put them on the outside and said, "You have to defend us because you're not real humans." Uh, and like, so you can go
what?
sacrifice yourselves to protect us from the enemy. Um, and then it kind of like the social commentary around, and there's people in the silver hair thing who kind of coordinate with their own group of non-silver haired people, and just kind of this us versus them, lesser than people. Like think of like Hunger Games, think
Yeah, yeah,
of
yeah. The
but
elite.
it's elite, but, like, different, and it's a very interesting story so far. Like, I can't go further, but it's pretty like, so far, like, the thing I'll say about it, like, it's not a spoiler, it's like, it doesn't feel like it's one of those stories where, like, "Oh, there's a singular hero who's gonna, like, fix the mistakes that have
Yeah,
been made to get here." It's
yeah,
really
yeah.
about, like, "You can't fix this. This is just a what is," and so it's kinda cool. I like it. It's interesting.
And what's
Um
it on? Netflix?
I believe it's on Netflix. It's on Seanflix for us. But yes, I believe it's on Netflix.
Got it. Okay, got it. Excellent. That's my boy. Um, excellent. Anything else, mate?
Been playing Outlaws, but we can talk about that when it
Yeah,
comes.
yeah, 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 yeah.
You've got a lot more time in there than I do, so I'm interested to hear what you have to say.
Well, I started watching Terminator Zero. So
Nice.
I said last week that I was not going to have it on in the background. So I started watching that. And at the moment, it's only, I think it's only 6 or 8 episodes. It's quite short. And I'm up to episode 5. And it's really well done. It's really, really well done. What I like about it is it's not, it, it, it's its own take on Terminator. Well, no shit, Sherlock. But it's also not. Um, what am I trying to say? It, it's not taking the Terminator and making it bigger and badder. So
Yeah.
there's a very very um. There's always a risk of when you take the franchise and you got someone like Arnie, for example, that's leading the first the the main tranche of the of all of the media releases, and it's like, but that means that all Terminators must be huge, must be absolutely massive. Well, there wouldn't be very particularly good
Mhm.
infiltration units if every single one of them was massive, because it wouldn't take an awful lot for people to work out. Well, that must be a Terminator because of the size of them. It's really really good, and the I've got to a point in the moment where the main unit, or sorry, the it takes it back to its roots. Is it the T-800, which is the original Arnie Terminator? So it's another T-800, which is um, looking to influence the past, although it's nothing to do with Cyberdyne. It's to do with another company, and at the moment, I don't know whether the intention of that other, or the consequences of that, or the output of that company is good or bad, and as a result, I don't know what the Terminator is trying to do. Either save the company, or because it's going to help um, Cyberdyne and Skynet, or it potentially could destroy the AI, the Skynet AI. I don't know yet, and it's really really interesting, and it's done really really well, and it's done in the animation's gorgeous, as you'd expect from anime, but it's how can I put it? I think it's hand drawn, or albeit digitally. I think it's hand drawn, but many parts of it look very very CGI,
Mm.
albeit cell shaded. So it does look a little bit hand drawn. I'm really enjoying it. I'm really really enjoying it. Finished. Keeping up with Rings of Power week on week, and I'm glad I'm doing it weekly as opposed to binging, because it is good. It's really, really good. Very, and I can't say it enough. I'm not going to give anything away to you, but it is very, very different to season one.
You have
Very,
my promise
it,
that I'm gonna catch up on that before next week.
okay,
I
cool.
I have time coming up.
Um, yeah, yeah, no, that's cool, because it is really good, and hats off to you for aligning yourself with that, because it's good. Everything else kind of taken a back seat. One, I did do a little bit of driving this last week, with picking up my in-laws from the airport, because they've been away on a holiday, and I picked them up from the airport, and I managed to catch a podcast, and it's the latest Sackhoff Show.
Mhm.
Um, and again, I don't want to get into the habit of calling it out every week, because I listen to it weekly, but the latest one is with Titus Welliver,
Mhm.
who's the guy that plays Bosch. Um, and he's already a fave of mine. It's a good episode. It's quite a quick episode. The interview's quite quick,
Yes. That's pretty
but
short.
he's a deep guy. I like him a lot. I had no idea he was a comic nerd, which was, I thought, was awesome. Absolutely awesome. He got into comics quite late, a little bit like myself, and it's. I don't know if you recall the story that he gave of when he got back into, so we say, graphic novels,
Mhm.
comics as a kid, gave it up for a while, as young men do, then got back into it with Return of the Dark Knight, Dark Knight, yeah, Dark Knight Returns, sorry, and Watchmen. So that really really appealed to me. I thought, what a cool guy. And then lastly, listen to the latest episode of Just Crafting, which had me really interested at times, and then Stitches the next, because I I can imagine what it was like recording with those two guys. So yeah, no, it's good. It sounds really really good. Yeah, I think you've got
Thank
something
you.
going there, and I love what I like about it as well is that you're getting into the routine now of thinking about themes. So you're thinking about
Yeah.
themes, not only what you're working on, but you're thinking about themes. So as you, a little bit like us with guests, as you develop and as you grow, this week we're going to talk about, I don't know, dry brushing. Next week we're going to talk
Yeah,
about
yeah.
um I don't know, whatever. But I really like it. I really really enjoy it. And now you can make that bit of a visual experience for your listeners. I think it's a good thing. And then I've just been playing all the time in between that, and the occasional bit of sleep and and food, um, and using the bathroom. Um, I've been playing Outlaws, a lot of Outlaws, a heck of a lot of Outlaws, and I'm really, really enjoying it. So as I said, I've done about argument's sake, let's say 32 hours at the moment. Um, where are you at the moment? Are you still playing it? But bearing in mind you've got this new game out, and I understand if you drop
No,
off, I'm
yeah,
not,
I'm not getting into Satisfactory until I finish Outlaws. Like,
Oh wow,
that's
okay.
not good. Like, so, like, I opened it and I was like, "Ooh," and I kinda looked at stuff, but I cannot get sucked into that. Like,
Mm.
I am enjoying Outlaws. I've had a little bit I played for a couple hours last night. I'm nowhere close to as deep as you are, like, but I have this up like, this next week, I have a lot of time that I'm gonna be able to put into it. I'm So where I'm at with do you wanna know where I'm at, like, level-wise, or where I'm at with it, like, how I feel about it?
Both. So first of all,
So,
let me know where you are at the moment.
I
Where are you
am I
physically
am
in the game?
I am physically on the 2nd planet.
Right.
I I have met a couple of the experts. I've, like, upgraded my speeder, I've upgraded my ship,
Yeah.
I've gone into all the wrong places on the map just to really piss people off. I've done, like, the turbine thing where you go and do all that. Oh, obviously, because I have the speeder upgrade. I've been doing a lot of, like, dumb missions around there. I've been playing a lot of Sabacc, um, because I've been afraid of, like, moving the story progression too far when I wasn't sure how much time I would have to be dedicated to it that night. And I will say, quick sidebar, whatever the update they pushed, like, 2 days ago, my game is behaving a lot better. Um, it doesn't seem as jerky. Um, the camera controls are still weird, like, the angle, like, when I'm riding my speeder bike, like, still just feel like, why am I looking, like, at the ground instead of, like, further into the
Yeah,
horizon?
I've heard that I've heard that it's fixed quite a few things. I mean, I like I said, I never experienced it. However, I did pick up on a little tip, and it's no spoiler or anything. I did pick up on a little tip that on console, and they didn't specify which console. You know, in your settings and your accessibility settings,
Mhm.
if you play the game straight out of the box, or once you download it, it plays it in panoramic, almost like I don't know what ratio it is, but extremely wide screen.
Yeah, yeah.
And I've heard that a lot of the problems um, are rectified if you change your mode to full screen. So it'll
Mm.
re-render the whole game into full screen, which I did from the very off anyway, because I've got a massive, massive TV, nowhere near as you guys that shop at Costco, but it's big for me. Um, and um, I want to get the full experience. I don't want a black bar top and bottom of it. So I already did that, and as a result of that, before I even started the game, and as a result of that, I haven't had a lot of the screen tearing and a lot of the pixelation problems, and most importantly, the lip sync problems. An awful lot of the people have said they've had, and it just so happened to be I was watching before we started speaking. You knew I was on YouTube watching a few tips
Mhm.
about Outlaws, and one of them was about changing the resolution of the screen to full screen, and it seems to have done that. But I'm glad the patch came out. I hope that will fix a few problems for a few people that, like I said, I haven't touched wood, I haven't experienced myself. That's cool. And how are you
Yeah.
feeling about it?
I'm feeling good. I think early on, I felt like I've always enjoyed the game. Statement number
Yeah.
1. I've never had I've never had any issue with it that made me not wanna play it. Straight out of the way. Um, I did find early on there was, like, it didn't have that addictive quality, which
Mm,
is that's not a complaint. It's just, like,
mm,
there was nothing like because it is a lot of fart around, kinda move the needle a little bit. It works you into it, and I think that's a good thing because I think there's so
mm,
many of these games anymore that just, like, because now that I've played a while, like, there's a billion menus. There's a billion things to keep track of, and I'm glad that they slowly worked me into that. Like, and I think that comes at the cost of, like, addictive beginning. So it's like there's
mm,
pluses and minuses there. Um, I'm really enjoying it. I like that it's not it doesn't feel like because normally, like, these games open world games feel like there's a main path, which there is, but it feels like everything else just doesn't matter. Like, all the side missions, those are just extra. This I like because it feels like there is still the main thing, but, like, there is, like, a middle tier of, like, things that are side missions that you don't have to do, but they are still valuable, and I think
Oh,
that
they
comes
help
in with
you a
the
lot.
yeah,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
that comes in with the reputation system that comes with added bonuses, and then there's, like, the low tier of just, like, help the farmers, like, on the just help
yeah.
them do whatever, like, that's the stuff that just, like, who cares? If it's situational, if you wanna do it, then do it. I like that they've added more weight to that middle tier. I will say there's times I've noticed I don't think I've had it since the patches, the latest patch, but, like, if there's times where I feel like I'm in the middle of a mission and it wasn't like, the one that specifically came up was, like, trying to find the speeder mechanic. Like, "Oh, go talk to the speeder mechanic," but it doesn't like, you had to go to some weird menus to do it, but then, like and then it moved it back to, Waka, and then I go back to him, and they're like, "No." He's like, "Go do it." I'm like, "Move the yellow thing here, the yellow
Yeah,
marker." So I had to go back there, then go back into the diner because I thought I had to talk to the speeder person outside the diner, talk to
yeah.
them, and then it's like, "Oh, go talk to Waka." And it's like, "Okay." And then so I had to go back and then do that thing. Then I had to do the whole mission. It's like there's times where I feel like I get stuck in the mission progression, but I feel like maybe some of that's fixed now with the
Yeah.
patch. That's still not a
And
huge complaint. It's just something I noticed.
it's also frustrating when you I accept an awful lot of what you say, especially when you're stuck on that planet and that planet's quite broad. It's quite vast.
Yeah.
And there's a million one things to do there, and you're tempted to go and do them, but you're stuck in the monotony of that one planet. And it's kind of I do get that. I will say I agree 100% with everyone that says the minute you leave you're able to leave that planet, it makes going back no problem at all. Because you can
Yeah.
get. I mean, I haven't done all the missions. It's physically impossible to do.
Mhm.
Not if I want to progress with the story. But the minute you leave that planet, going back there doesn't seem so bad. Whereas when I was stuck there, I was like, for fuck's sake, can we just please move on? Go here, go there, and it's like,
Well, I think
and I
there's
don't
also an
mind doing
element
that anymore.
that the reputation system makes it scary to, like, mess around. So, like, yeah, you'll
Oh
go from
yeah,
one edge of the map to the other, and all of a sudden, like, there's, like, that Imperial Tower. They're like, you drive by it 1.5 million times, like, but if you get too close, they're like, "What are you doing?" It's like, "I just wanna kill him. Can I kill him?" But, like, I'm afraid of what the repercussions are gonna be,
oh, the
and, like, I'm
repercussions of
not
killing Imperials is you become wanted and they hunt you down with, Dark Troopers. Is it Dark Troopers, the ones that were in, Rogue One?
the, Death Troopers.
Death Troopers, sorry, Death Troopers. They come and
Yeah,
get
so
you.
it's like I feel like there's like, it's a very extreme, like, GTA system,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
it's not like
It's
so it's
actually,
like
that's a really, really good. I haven't played GTA probably since GTA 4. And you know the 2 and you know in the beginning of the game and you're stuck on one part of the map, and then you eventually the bridges open up and you can go to another island or go to another part of the. I can't remember which game it was. I think it was GTA 4. I could be completely wrong.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it's a little bit like that. It's a little bit like that where you're stuck in one part and there's so much to do. And in the meantime, you're trying to understand the mechanics of the game, and you want to, well, I was certainly chomping at the bit to try and, I want to fly my ship. I want to mod it. I want to do all of these things but in the meantime I've got to do the drudgery of kind of getting used to the game. But honestly, man, as soon as you get off that planet, I've been going back there over and over and over again,
Mm,
just to finish off side stuff.
mm,
And I haven't had a problem with it because I know I can leave at any time.
yeah. So that's
Cool.
I'm enjoying it. It's not I think I like that the so far the missions so, like, I know there's times I complain about Jedi Survivor being too wall climby, puzzly,
Yeah.
platformy. I like that so far those don't seem to be as long because that can just get
Yeah.
like, annoying after a while of, like, climbing. Like, you still do it, and it's still jumpy, jumpy, climby,
Yeah.
climby, find the bars, do this and stuff like that. Like, I like that stuff, but there's times with, like, the Jedi Survivor, it's like, dude, I've been doing this for, like, 45 freaking minutes.
Yeah.
Doing the
It's not
run along the walls and stuff, and I feel like it's better. I like it.
it's nowhere near as complicated. It's not like a run across the wall, a jump on and grab onto something. It literally is
Mhm.
grabbing on or swinging down or swinging across.
Yeah,
There's a lot of it. There's a lot of it coming your way because it's all about it's all about sneaking in.
yeah.
Of which the direct approach is sometimes not the best approach, and I've learned that the hard way. Um, but it's like I said last week, it's lazy gameplay,
Yeah.
which will frustrate some people that want a little bit more. How can I put this? That want a little bit more fine tuning in their gaming.
Mhm,
And I probably would expect someone like Hawes, for example, thinking that the combat system, for example, is very, very basic. It's robust, but it's basic. That for me
mhm.
is fine. It's
Yeah.
absolutely fine. I love it. That works beautifully for me. Very, very simple. Um, but yeah, no, I'm really, really enjoying it. And it's like I I'm going to be here for a couple of years, I reckon. I wouldn't be
Mm,
surprised. And I'm not talking about every night till 3 in the morning. I'm talking about this with the two DLCs coming up and their plans for future. I think this is going to be my could be my Mass Effect 2 for a while until something else comes the way. Because like I said, it appeals to my style of gameplay, and it's not everyone's cup of tea. In fact, it's many gaming aficionados it's the least of their cups of tea, or it's the furthest opposite from their cup of tea. But for me, it works really, really well, and I love it. Couple of things that I wrote down to give you an update on. I'm addicted to Sabak.
mhm,
In fact, one of the main quest lines that you're encouraged to do throughout the game is to find a big game in every planet,
mhm.
and you work your way through there and earn some decent credits that way. But so back the game itself, I'm loving it. I did make the fundamental mistake of realizing that I was doing pretty well, and then all of a sudden I did started doing really really badly, and I was trying to work out what was going on. And of course, I was taking from the middle two cards. I didn't realize the two outside cards as well, where other people have dropped. You can take from them as well, and actually make up your make up your deck from the drop cards as well. I didn't realize that because I'm
Mm.
stupid. Um, so yeah, that's got me highly addicted, and that was one of those things that I'd normally avoid. I'd normally avoid card games and poker, for
Yeah,
example, in Red Dead because it just took up time. But I
yeah.
found myself, like looking at the clock 1 minute and then looking at it again. It'd be 2 hours later. It's like, fuck,
It feels like a
good
modern
God,
board game. Like, with
yeah,
the
yeah.
rules that are adapted, it's not some basic card game where it's like, "This doesn't feel fun." It does feel fun.
Well, it's fun for me because it's simple as well. It's
Yeah,
the rules are relatively simple, and then you can get these kind of um, these extra enhancements that you can have. Like
yeah.
you can steal other people's cards. You can get a refund from the pot, which you can play one per round. But it's really really good. The faction rep. I am getting it right on the second planet. I got it really wrong on the first planet. So on the first planet, you were on there already, so it's no spoilers. The two crime syndicates, the two main crime syndicates, are the the Pikes and Crimson Dawn, and each of them have you doing jobs for them to progress the story, but also in addition to the story. And if you get if you max out your reputation with a syndicate or a organization, they give you lots of good things. And for Crimson Dawn, there's this set of sleek black jammies that they give our hero, and she looks ace in them. She looks really really cool. So I was like, right, I'm going to do everything for Crimson Dawn, which meant that every single um, job I was doing, including for the Pikes, I was double crossing the Pikes, and increasing my rep with Crimson Dawn, which worked in that I'm completely maxed out on my Crimson Dawn rep, but I now have the worst, the absolute worst of
Mhm.
reputation with the pikes. And in doing so, you find out when you bring the map up, you find out that there's areas of red that if you go
Yeah.
there, they will kill you. They
Yeah.
will kill you. Not only that, is it Gomac or something like that? The main boss,
Yeah,
the
Gorak or
main
whatever his name is, yeah.
yeah, Gorak. He puts out a hit on you. So you've got in your reputation. There's a death mark on you. You know, as General Reiching says, a death mark's not easy thing to live with. Um, and which basically means when you're there, I am in the countryside, out in the wild on my little speeder bike, just taking it easy and exploring and checking out rocks. I feel like, the sun's out in the game. I'm looking cool. I've got my very chic Crimson Dawn threads on. I'm feeling like Sacha Distel on a moped in the south of France. That kind of with that little
Yeah.
cheeky 60s and 70s beat going on as well. And this whole bunch of this biker gang comes up and starts shooting at me and trying to take me out. And it's not like when you go through a bad area and then you escape, you put the turbos on and you escape. No, these guys pursue you until they've killed you or you've killed them.
Yeah.
So at some point I've got to think about how do I fix my rep with the pikes, because while I got the sweet kit that I wanted, I probably didn't think about balancing it out enough. And maybe
I need a
taking on a
faster
few.
bike.
Yeah, but maybe I didn't think about maybe I didn't think enough about keeping the pikes sweet and using other missions or other quests to gain favor with the with Crimson Dawn, as opposed to double crossing the bikes every opportunity I got. And now I'm
Do
on
you
the
still have
second
his
planet.
ring? Do you still have his
No,
ring?
I gave it back thinking it would get me a load of rep. It didn't do anything. Didn't do
I kept
anything,
it.
mate.
I haven't given it back yet. I'm like, "No, fuck you." You can
Didn't do anything. At the end of the day, I even looked it up afterwards. You get 5% reputation. It's nothing
uh,
when you give it to them back, but you can get 300 creds from it if you trade it in. So anyway, it's up to you, mate. Um, so yeah, no more of that. I'm on the second planet now, which again is liberating. It's also a smaller map as well, significantly
mhm,
smaller, and you make a lot more progress very very quickly. And you sometimes have to go back to, or you feel compelled to go back to the original planet. I should know the names of these places, but I can't be bothered to look them up. Um, and that's really really cool. The One bit of advice I will give you, and I hope it's not a spoiler. I don't think it's a
okay.
spoiler, but I think it's a decision that you need to make. Now, when you do leave the planet, you have to make a choice as to which planet you want to go to next.
Okay.
I would strongly, all I would say is I'll strongly recommend going by the guidance of the person that suggests where you should go to first. And the
Okay.
reason for that is one of the planets is Tatooine. And of course, us being Star Wars fans, we'd automatically think, oh, I've got to go there. And I was this close from going there first. The only problem with going there first, and I found this out before I made my decision, and I'm glad I did. Um, Spoilers for 30 seconds, guys, if you don't want to know. But if you do choose Tatooine, you're locked there until Jabba lets you go. So
Right.
so you get a choice of three planets to go to,
Mhm,
because you're looking for something on each of those planets. The
mhm.
first planet and the second planet, that your options are fine, and you can flip around them, and you flip flop, flip, and do whatever
Yeah,
you
yeah.
want. And that's what makes the game compelling. Really, really good.
Mhm.
Um, and then the third choice is Tatooine. And on my understanding, and I'm taking this from what I read, I hope it's true. But once you get there, you're landlocked. So in other words, they put, you can't leave the planet until Jabba tells you you can you have permission to leave. So
Hmm.
that's the only spoiler I think that I'm gonna give, if it indeed it is even a spoiler. Um, the advice I'd give you is, if you want cash, go for the vault quests. So every planet has a vault quest where you're asked to find 3 keys,
Mm.
and then you have to sneak into that a factional a factional vault and steal the contents of that vault. That pays big, 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 biggity,
Mhm.
big, big, big. I was worried last week when I first spoke to you that I dropped from 6,000 to 3,000 because I kept being killed. Um, oh, and by the way, on that point as well, the amount of the amount of money you lose depends on who kills you. So you were absolutely right. It's not about, you get plundered every single time. So if the Imperials kill you, they take more money.
Mm.
If somebody else kills you and you've actually got a high rep with them, they take less money from you. So it all depends
Mm.
on your factional rating and everything. But yeah, vaults are a big, big thing. And I recommend doing them. It's quite fun as well, sneaking in and doing a bit of a heist like that. And then lastly, and I don't know whether it's a thing or not, and I can't find it anywhere, but it was funny. It made me laugh. So one of the missions that I did was a side quest. So it's not important. I mean, a lot of them are cookie cutters and then regurgitated into something else later on. Again, a little bit
Mhm.
like Red Dead. But one of the side missions is quite funny in that it's you have to one of the syndicates is conducting a raid on a pirate base to get some. I can't even remember what it was, to get something or to
Mhm.
steal something or to secure something, and you're there as their hired gun. So you're basically there to help them. You're their shotgun, kind of.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
You
yeah, yeah.
put a shotgun rod on the wagon train, and great, no problem. Started the mission, went in there. Anyway, one of the pirate baddies dropped a grenade launcher, and I was, of course, hello, Dolly, grenade launcher. I'm shooting off everywhere. The ceilings, the floors. I'm taking everyone out. Now I don't know whether friendly fire is a thing or not. I don't know whether it is. But by the time this red mist of anger, rage, and delight passed me, everyone was dead. Everyone was dead. So not only were the pirates dead, but also my own hombres that I should have been supporting and protecting, they are also dead. Now, luckily, this is a forgiving game, and I still got the reward and the factional points. Had it been any other game, one of the conditions were that at least one of my buddies survived, but no, everyone was dead. I've
Oh,
managed to. I
that's how I
hope it
treat it.
wasn't. Yeah, yeah,
Whenever
yeah.
whenever something happens, like, when in doubt, kill everybody, so that way they
Yeah.
don't push the alarm,
Yeah.
or there's no but they can't call for reinforcements. Like, I've had stuff go
But it's the
sideways, and
first
it's like,
time.
"Well, I guess you're all dead now."
Again, it's one of those things where it was the first time I think I realized that some of the guys you kill, they drop their weapons and you can pick them up. And I don't know why I hadn't seen it before because it's quite late it's quite a late mission when I'm on that first planet still. Um, but I picked it up and I had the time of my life. And then you run out of grades. There's another guy that's died near you. He's also got a rocket launcher. Sorry, a grenade launcher. Oh, it
Yeah.
was I was frantic, mate. I was absolutely frantic. It's hell of a good time. Hell of a good time. So that's kind of what I've been up to. And yeah, for me, like I said, I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it. I can finish the night and do an hour, no problem at all. And that hour may well be something as simple as just visiting a few, going to a merchant, getting rid of my valuables that don't mean anything. That are just things you pick up along the way that don't have any
Yeah.
intrinsic value. So you sell them to a merchant. I might check out some of the clothing, because I'm a sucker when it comes down to little outfits for our hero. And maybe do one or two fetch quests.
Mhm.
It's nice that space is open now, so I can jump into space and do a few things there. There's a few locations in space where you can get off the ship. There's a few space stations and habitats that you can do that kind of stuff. It's good fun. It's good fun. It's not a technical innovation in any way, but it's
Yeah.
the kind of gameplay that I like, and it's bits that parts of it. I mean, you and I were exchanging messages the other week, which was like, God, this is really hard. And then you realize what you can do, and you realize that actually it's not so. Once you get into the swing of it, it's a lot easier than you think. And
Well, they
one
fix
thing
the
I believe
saves
they're in.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, didn't they? Aren't they? They're now haven't they implemented in the patch? Haven't they implemented checkpoints?
They have checkpoints, but now you can also save anywhere. Like, before it was like,
Right.
"You can't save. You can't save." It's like, "Just let me." Like, I gotta go
Oh,
walk
okay.
away for a second. Like, just not having that pressure is
Yeah.
nice.
I'm loving it, man. I'm loving it. And
Yeah,
unlike and like I said, I did like the Jedi, well,
yeah,
Fallen Order I finished, Survivor I didn't. I did like them,
yeah,
but and as a story, they're phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. I love the story of the of the first one being focused on on saving on finding and saving and protecting the children, the second one of finding a secret bolt hole and creating the path. Um, I freaking love the story. It's very dramatic. It's very serious as well. It's very, it's very, very operatic, shall we say.
yeah.
I'm just loving this for what it is, which is less serious. And I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, but yeah, pick up and play really lazy gameplay, and I'm down for it.
Have you noticed the audio or, like, the music choices that they make when you talk to like, I'm obviously we need to progress the story and see where it goes, but it's like, I'm curious to know if, like, the music choices that they pick for talking when you're in certain areas, doing certain things, talking to certain characters, other characters, like, are they on the nose, or is it really just, or is it not? Like, because there's certain characters where it's like, there's themes and stuff that are happening, and so I'm curious to know where that leads.
I
The
could be
audio
oblivious.
choices are very interesting.
I could be oblivious to it, mate. I don't know.
It'll be
I
interesting
don't.
to find out because there's been a couple instances where there's one where was randomly doing stuff on the map, and it had
Yeah,
themes playing and, like, doing something, and then there's other times where I'm talking to certain individuals where certain themes started playing, and it's like, I mean, if this is, like, supposed to be, like, a subtle hint, like, it's like a hit, it's, like, so on the nose, like, I feel like I got hit in the face with a hammer, um, so it'll
I
be
haven't
interesting, like,
noticed it.
it's not a
I
spoiler or
haven't
anything.
noticed it. I mean, I have met someone I've now met someone from the movies,
Mhm.
which is interesting. Um, and even then, I didn't even pick up whether there was any sort of musical cue.
I'm referring to
Um,
so I have not met anybody from the movies, but I'm referring to new characters where stuff has happened, and it could just be
oh, I don't know.
similarities. It could just be whatever, like, because each every time you talk to somebody, like, there's times where you go places in the map, like, I know a lot of it has to do with, like, the wind. They're like, "Oh, you
Hmm.
can hear the wind howling," but then you go behind a rock and it's just dead silence, like, there's audio cues that they do in certain places that are odd, so that's why I'm like, are the audio cues that you do get when you do certain things and talk to certain people, are they just not semi-random, but do they have more meaning than
The only
or
thing
not?
I've picked up on is a particular treasure hunting quest that extends across the entire game. And when you do a certain action, you get the na 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 na, which is the kind of the main theme.
Yeah,
Or the first couple. Yeah, that's the only thing I've noticed as being recurring and particularly on the. It's not even on the nose, I guess.
on a slightly
Yeah,
related, but to that point, There is one audio sound effect that drives me nuts. I still can't figure out if it means anything or if it's just the sound of the speeder bike. But you know when you're driving, you ever hear that coin flip sound where it's like bing? Like I think it's just the speeder bike doing it. But I don't know if it's like me driving past something and it sounds like somebody's like a cartoon character flipping a coin. Maybe I just need to adjust my headphone settings
If
because there's
you
certain
if
sounds that are
you
like way too loud.
yeah, you might see in the top right-hand corner something saying "opportunities available"
Yeah.
when you hear that sound, in which case you flick up on your cross pad. Sorry, what controller are you using?
Uh, PS, PlayStation. It's
Okay.
like the
I don't know,
up
I can't yeah.
up on the D-pad thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, so if you on the cross pad, if you flip up on that, you'll see, what the opportunity is.
Mm.
And sometimes they just it's quite a big payout, it worth just
Is
slowing
that
down and finding out
associated
what's
with that
going on.
"ping" sound that when you're driving
I
around,
think
like, is
so.
that
I
okay.
think so because I also hear it when I'm walking as well down the streets of
Mm,
a particular location as well.
interesting. I think
I
I'm
could be
so
wrong.
busy fighting because that is my only semi-complaint is the speeder controls. It's like, I feel like one of these days I'm gonna, like it's gonna not feel clunky,
I
but
don't know. I've upgraded mine quite a lot because there are certain missions you can't do unless you do upgrade them. So, for
mhm,
example,
yeah,
you've got to use you've got to jump a chasm to be able to make a
yeah.
particular location. So you got to get the booster on there. But I must admit, I have not had a problem. There's only a couple of times I've had a problem where the speeder, I just it, it, it just typically when I run into a rock as well. And one of the great upgrades you can have is that you can actually jump over rocks as well. So
Oh,
that's one of the
nice.
upgrades you can get is you can actually leap over them, which is kind of cool. But yeah, typically when I'm again doing my Sacha Distel moment in south of France and I'm just literally cruising and all of a sudden I'm being chased and I'm looking behind me because you can look behind you
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah,
looking behind me to find out, and then I run into a rock, and I'm like, "For fuck's sake!"
yeah,
And it's a gr
I feel like I'm pushing a shopping cart backwards. That's kinda my
yeah,
how I
yeah,
feel like
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
driving. It's like, "God, what
That will
the"
change. That will change when you upgrade when you go through a few upgrades.
Nice,
It becomes a lot more graceful, a lot more graceful. Well, I'm
nice.
certainly finding it that way anyway. Great game, good game. I'm
Yeah, I'm
loving it.
loving it. I just need more hours in the day. If I had 36 hours in a day, oh my god, life would be crazy.
Yeah, yeah, it'd be good, wouldn't it? Hey, dude, there's a couple of things I was thinking. I kept thinking in the back of my mind we've missed something, and we have. We've missed the news. And while I'm don't have an awful lot of news, and we do need to acknowledge that
Yeah,
the
it just hit me. Yeah.
the king of voice actually, to be honest with you, his acting career was pretty solid as well. Live acting career, sorry. James Earl Jones, we lost him this week.
Yep.
92, 93.
I think 93.
I mean,
A
what
good
an
run.
age.
Yeah.
And what really good run. I mean, it's hard to feel sad. I mean, it's sad, but it's hard. It's far. It's hard to be mortified when the guy lived such a rich life,
Yeah.
um, and gave so much to all of us. I mean, I don't think there's going to be a guy, outside of people like he's in the same echelons as someone like Orson Welles, for
Mhm.
example, where there is no one. You listen to that guy's voice, you know who it is.
Mhm.
And many people have tried, and it has not been the same. It just has not been the same. So yeah, it really, really sad, but what a dude. What a dude. Um, yeah, yeah. Uh, just very, very sad, really. Just very sad. On a more
Like you
positive note, oh sorry.
but, like, what's crazy is, like, you know his voice, you
Yeah.
know his work, but then, like, you go to, like, his IMDb page, and then you, like, see the stuff that you don't remember, and it's like, that is a prolific career that you haven't seen. You just don't see the likes of it as much anymore. It's like I mean, because I know him from Field of Dreams. Like, that's my
Yeah.
That's like one of my big ones. But it's like, oh yeah, the Lion King, Mufasa, and like Vader. Obviously, I think it goes without saying. It's it's crazy. It's like what you're saying.
Well,
It's
when
like
I
people
did,
try, but you're just not going to see that again for a while,
yeah,
if
exactly. I
ever.
mean, I did a little bit of media studies for a while when I was at school when they decided to be quite cool about their lessons, and we watched. You you had to watch the classics. The media that you consume would be go to a British state school. It's got to be the classics, and one of them was Doctor Strangelove, and I've forgotten that
Oh, I love it.
James Earl Jones
Yep.
played the lieutenant, the aviator.
Mhm.
I've forgotten that he played that role, and what a pivotal or influential film that was um, for me as an influential teenager. At a time where I was starting to read books like Jack Kerouac on the Road, Dharma
Yep.
Bums, um, William Burroughs, all that kind of stuff that was off its tits at the time, and then Doctor Strangelove. That was something that would pretty much required viewing for someone of that age that had political and moral views that I had at the time. And yeah, no, I've forgotten that he was in that. I mean,
We will we watched that in high school.
what a dude!
That's a movie that's a movie that will divide a classroom between the kids
Oh
who were
yeah, yeah,
just
yeah,
sitting there
yeah.
mouth agape and the other half who just went, "I have no idea what I just watched." And I just remember watching that. I think that was my junior year, probably 16, 17 years old, and it's like, just sitting there just going like, "What? That was
Yeah,
make movies like this? Like, this
yeah,
is nuts." And so, that was cool. Yeah,
yeah. No, it's a film and a half. It's a film and a half. God, what a lineup! Peter Sellers, George C. Scott, Slim Pickens, Sterling Hayden, Tracy Reed. Wow, what a film! Sorry. On a more positive note, we learned this week, and I can't work this out because I feel as if I feel as if somebody's pulling my leg, and I'm being shit. So this week, Variety said that Shogun has won 14 Emmys. I understand that Shogun, the TV series,
yeah.
has won 14 Emmys, but at the same time, the Emmys is being broadcast this weekend. So how can that? Do they know the winner before it's announced? How does it work?
Is it so I don't know how all that stuff works, but I if I had to guess, I feel like they announce some of them ahead of time and, like, they save, like, the big like, 'cause I think there's a lot of
Oh, okay.
categories. So maybe it's not, like, the big ones, but I could be
Okay,
completely
so
wrong on this.
no, no, I'm now looking at Forbes. So, sound mixing, sound editing, period costumes, production design, main type. Yeah, you're right. You're right. But fair play. 14 already. Sound mixing, sound editing, period costumes, production design, main title design, special visual effects, period fancy makeup, prosthetic makeup, stunt performance, casting for a drama, period hairstyling, guest actor in a drama. Okay. Picture editing and cinematography.
Love that
Um,
show. I have no notes.
it's
That is,
beaten.
10 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's beaten Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones was the only other show. Uh, it won 12 creative arts Emmys before. Ah, okay. So these are creative arts. Okay, fine, fine. Okay, let me explain my confusion now. It happens when you do a bit. Apparently, it's really useful when you do a bit of research. Anyway, who
When you do
knew?
more than read the headline.
Yeah, yeah. Well, no, yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. The Emmys are split between the Creative Arts Emmys, full of smaller awards from technical ones to guest actors, and the main showcase. The Creative Arts were last night at the Primetime Emmys. Were last night, and the Primetime Emmys are next week, being this weekend. There you go. There you go. Good to know. Good to know. Do you know what? Even the damn Variety article didn't explain it. So thank you, Forbes. I'll be coming to you again soon. Yeah, but I'm stoked about that. I'm really stoked about it, and I'm stoked that they're. I'd normally be really pessimistic. We had this conversation before. I'd normally be really, really pessimistic towards a second season. You know, what can they possibly do now that they've run out of material? And as long as they don't do a game, a season finale of Game of Thrones, they've got the time, the place, and hopefully the investment to make a
Mm.
really, really good job of it. Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. It's good, and I hope it does well this weekend as well. Good luck, guys.
I I keep I keep in my head, I'm like, I don't know if you ever saw the old, like, Pocahontas Disney cartoon, like,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
that's like, really good. Have you ever seen Pocahontas 2, like, the sequel? And just
Yes, I had to. Came out when the kids were young. We had 'em on VHS, then DVD,
I
and the
don't
sing
know
along
why
book.
I don't know why in my head, I'm like, as long as Shogun season 2 is not Pocahontas 2, where it's like, well, it's he went back home and now we're gonna get a batshit crazy story of what happens next. I don't know why I'm correlating those 2, but it's like, as long as it's not Pocahontas 2, I think we'll be in good shape. And so
I'm trying to think of other sequels that work great. If I remember rightly, I don't think the Lilo and Stitch was always a good was always a favorite of mine with the
the
girls
Hun
because again,
the Hunchback of Notre
y-
Dame 2 is up there with horrible. Like,
yeah,
it does not stand the test of time in that, because Madison and I went through, like, a watch through of, like, we're gonna watch all the Disney sequels, and
yeah,
some of those they're insane. Like, what even for those times, it's like, man, you didn't see that as not problematic in, like, PC way, but just like, what are you trying to get across here with this? But yeah, I
yeah.
don't know why I brought that up, but it's just like Shogun season 2, it's like,
Oh,
please don't do it poorly.
Hunchback of Notre Dame, The Secret of Belle, voted the worst. Oh, Pocahontas 2, voted the second worst. Cinderella 2, When Dreams Come True. Atlantis. Oh God, love Atlantis. I didn't even know there was a sequel. Milo's Return. Atlantis, Milo's Return. Apparently not so good.
So
Oh,
one of the
that's
Cinderellas wasn't bad. I don't remember which one it is, but, like, it goes with, like, one of the stepsisters, and it kinda gives her a little bit of a redemption arc of, like, let's let her find love. And
yeah,
but then
yeah,
I think
yeah,
the 3rd one, I think, undoes it and makes her just a total sucko again. It's like, yeah.
yeah.
I can't believe I can't believe how many of these I've seen.
I'm just looking at the list at the moment. To be honest with you, mate, I didn't know there was a sequel to Tarzan and Jane as well. Sorry, to Tarzan. Tarzan was really, really good with that Phil Collins soundtrack as well behind it
The
all.
only thing I remember
Really,
the
really
only thing I
good.
remember from that, well, we might as well say it. One of the things I've been consuming this week is Disney released a new album, of,
Right.
like, influential artists that were, like, when I was in high school and college, like,
Yeah, yeah.
that pop punk emo scene, and some of the newer ones where they're redoing Disney classics, and one of those is the Phil Collins, like, "You'll Be in My Heart." Um,
Oh wow.
dude, this song still rules. Uh,
Yeah, 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 yeah. And as a young man with two young daughters, when I would admit to the fact that I like um, Phil Collins. Phil Collins, no way. Genesis, no, hated all that. That's my dad's generation. No, hate it. Yeah, I thought he's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Um, it's amazing what happens when you get older. You start tolerating an awful lot more and not actually giving a shit what other people think of you as well.
yeah.
It helps an awful lot. Helps an awful lot. Oh, dude, what a good week. Oh, we've done an hour and a half. I didn't even think we'd make an hour. We've done an hour and a half. Thank God for
Well, we
Outlaws. Hurrah!
well, we we bring in local politics and gardening, and that'll
Yeah,
beef up the front end a little bit.
yeah, yeah. No, always a winner. And we didn't even have to break open. We didn't even have to smash the emergency seal and bring out the decking conversation either. So we've done pretty well.
I said in our private DMs, I said, I'm done." Like, I shared some photos. I'm like, "Here's what it was, here where it is." Like,
Yeah,
I'm feeling some
no
closure
one's.
there. I
Yeah,
feel
you
like
say you're done, but you're never really done. It's one of
Oh, I'm
those
not done with
things
the
that
work. I'm just done talking about it.
yeah, 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 yeah.
No,
Well, yeah, yeah, okay. Okay, we
then
shall
we're
see.
then
We shall see.
now it's gonna be catios, wildflower progress, more about your gardens. I wanna hear more about your gardens
Cool.
and, stuff like that, you know?
Well, mate, thank you very much for recording with me. It's been good fun. And I know that we are potentially recording again at the weekend, which is exciting. And so
Very
I kind
exciting.
of very exciting. Um and I kind of was thinking, should we record, shouldn't we record? I'm glad we got this out of the way because we can focus 100% of our attention at the
Yeah.
weekend on what we're recording there. Um Thank you to everyone who listened. Um, I really, really hope again that you don't mind our shtick in two buddies just talking nonsense about what they've been doing during the week. That is very much our brand these days, and I hope it works for you guys. Look out for this space, or check out this space very, very soon for something very, very special coming our way in the next couple of days or so. But in the meantime, Sean, take us out, mate.
Like Andy said, we really appreciate you spending your time with us. Uh, as we previously mentioned, we have a new Instagram account. You can find all of that information at our website, justchillin.com. There's 2 new links there. Go check them out. You can find also all the other awesome content there as well. Until a couple days from now, hopefully, fingers crossed. Uh, appreciate your time. Thanks for listening. I'm Sean. Until then.
And
Bye.
don't forget, folks, having a soft heart is in a cruel world
Oh,
is
yeah.
courage, not a weakness. What happened, mate?
I forgot my tip. It's too far. It's below the fold. It's below the fold. It's not even a tip. It's just a life mantra that I always heard from my dad. And I'm sure it's not it didn't come from him, but it came from somewhere else. He always used to say, "You can pick your friends and you can pick your nose, but you can't pick your friend's nose." Just keep that in mind.
Or can you?
I'm not gonna find out. Different strokes
Cheers,
for different folks.
guys.
Bye.